Give me a moment. I'm gonna just go to playlist of some. Oh man, I hate ads, yo. I'm gonna share the screen soon. Let me see. Let me share this around a little bit. If anybody wants to, I don't know, give a suggestion what fight to watch, tell me. Because I got stuff loaded. I'm thinking. I love the classic Carter, of course. Um, let me see. Let me wait till some people maybe join. So, it'd be share screen. You know what's a fight that I love though? This is it's an underrated fight, a little bit, but I love watching Carter's style, in particular in this one. How about we go with Carter versus Jose Gonzalez? Let me find it for a sec. Where the heck did it go? Here we go. All right. Okay. I'm gonna do share screen. Give me a sec. Right there. Is it even working? You turn. I hope this isn't. Hope it's not laggy, bro. Is my mic working? Yeah. So I really don't know if there's any even way to make this better FPS. Like, might just have to settle for this. I hate lag. It ruins the whole thing, yo. I don't even I don't know how to fix it exactly. But it just like ruins the whole experience. Um Let me see. Well, I mean, I do have some other things I could pull up that'd be some more stuff that like Cause I do some digging, and not everything I do gets posted. Okay, like uh, God, let me see if it even goes. No. Oh shit. Hold on. Let me see. I'm watching TV. Uh, let me get the link. It'll be no. That's not it. Look. Oh man, bro. What the fluff? Okay, wait. I could go to history because I got it in George Chuvalo. There we go. Okay, wait. There we go. Now you get to see what I'm seeing. Okay, let me turn it up. So I found this a little bit ago. Actually, just a day ago. It's what I made my last video with.
Boxing. No other sport's been attacked by so many different groups. You got educators, sociologists, the medical profession, journalists. Should we abolish it? Well, it's here, and it's going to stay here. Let's go back to the 1960s, the early 70s. This is the golden age of boxing for that heavyweight division. We've got Floyd Patterson and George Foreman and Joe Frazier and Cassius Clay, soon to become Muhammad Ali. They were all world champions. And right in the middle of this is George Chuvalo. He's not a boxer, he's a fighter. And each one of these guys fought him and respected him, but nobody ever knocked him down. And that's why he's Canada's greatest heavyweight. It's the classic stuff that movies are made of. A working-class neighborhood, a tough 10-year-old son of a butcher who scraps with friends and dreams of Marciano, Lewis, Robinson. But this is not Philadelphia. This is not the 70s. This is not some Hollywood character called Rocky. This is 1947 in a parking lot beside a macaroni factory in Toronto's West End. And the name is George Chuvalo. With a pair of boxing gloves stolen by a friend, Chuvalo quickly disposed of all opponents in the neighborhood and moved his hobby to a church gym. At 15, 198 pounds and battle-scarred, he was hooked on boxing and quit school to fight nights and work days in a meatpacking plant. 2 years later, he reigned as Canada's amateur champion. In 1956, during the dying days of the Rocky Marciano era, Chuvalo turned pro, knocking out 4 men in one night in a Jack Dempsey tournament in Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens. He took home $500 for a total of 12 minutes and 36 seconds of work. And at that moment, it seemed that the search for the next white heavyweight champion was over. But those were not the days when fighters were coddled through the ranks with soft opponents and fat paychecks. Chuvalo was rushed to face big names like South Africa's former heavyweight champ, Johnny Arthur, who he beat in an 8-round decision. He bobbed through those early pro years with big wins and then frustrating losses. He cinched the 1958 Canadian heavyweight title against James J. Parker in just 1 round, only to lose it to Robert Cleroux, reclaim it, and then lose it again. Enter Irving Ungerman, a successful poultry businessman and a part-time boxing fan. Coaxed by Chuvalo's mother, who was one of his workers, Ungerman agreed to take a stab at resurrecting the young star. It was a relationship that lingered, sometimes strained, for over 12 years. But in the beginning, the combination had near explosive results.
There's no doubt that there was a little bit of closeness there. I'm not going to say I was old enough to be his father, but I was a businessman, and I loved the sport, as I stated, and his mother was employed here, and I thought he had the greatest potential. I thought he was another Rocky Marciano, and he sure proved himself as being the best Canada's ever produced.
Offers rolled in to face top contenders, to fight in venues like Madison Square Garden, even on television. Now with a solid direction to vent his talent, Chuvalo proceeded to mow down the opposition. Contender Mike DeJohn fell in 1963. The following year, Doug Jones, then ranked 4th in the world, was victim number 2. In 1965, Ring Magazine ranked Chuvalo the number 3 contender in the world, but the tide was about to turn once again. His first swing at the world heavyweight crown came up shy with a tough 15-round loss to the short-lived WBA champion, Ernie Terrell. Next, he dropped a 12-round decision to Floyd Patterson, and then, with just 17 days warning, came Muhammad Ali. The American Legion bounced the original Terrell-Ali matchup out of New Jersey to Toronto because of Ali's Vietnam War protest. Terrell bowed out, and Chuvalo stepped in for his second and last grasp at the world title. The showdown was epic. Ali, lean and sharp, floating and stinging Chuvalo's face with jabs that left it a pulpy mess. But Chuvalo did his own share of damage. Next to the graceful champion, he heaved and pounded away like a washerwoman, Ali joked. But when it was all over, Ali passed blood for days. Chuvalo went the distance, but the call wasn't even close. He walked away with the loser's $25,000 purse, more than half of it going to Ungerman and the government. Between 1966 and his second loss to Ali in 1972, Chuvalo put an end to rumors he was washed up by knocking out Manuel Ramos, then dismissing Jerry Quarry, a solid top 10 fighter. Although he was never knocked down, Chuvalo suffered his fair share of beatings. His 1967 bout with Joe Frazier was the most brutal. Prior to fight time, Chuvalo took a training punch that chipped loose some cartilage in his right eye socket. Canceling was out of the question. There was too much money, too much publicity tied up with the closed-circuit event. All it took was one of Frazier's feared left hooks to connect and blood pooled behind Chuvalo's eyeball. The fight was called in round 4. A piece of plastic now holds his eye in place. There were no more big fights in Chuvalo's future.
I just want to say one thing also. Joe Frazier, he was my favorite fighter. Before Carter, before Chuvalo, I loved Frazier. That was my guy. That was my guy. That was my guy, Frazier.
But he refused to call it quits, dreading the monotony of life without boxing, opting instead to risk humiliation and injury as an aging heavyweight. The desire to continue fueled his split with Ungerman.
Yeah, well, I guess the worst point is when it comes to the very end. And I said, George, I think this is it. I think that's it. There's no use chasing. When you were picking up $50,000 purses or $60,000 purses or 30, that's fine. But we're not going to stoop down to the $5,000 or $3,000. I think that's it. Let's pack it in.
How did he feel?
No, George wanted to go on a little longer, and that's kind of when we kind of eased out a bit. That I said, George, you're the greatest there's ever been, and I want you to end that way.
It would be too easy to remember Chuvalo as the fighter who hung on too long, or as the man who met Ali. His big wins were dulled by big losses, but at a time when there was a bigger and a better stable of heavyweights in action, Chuvalo clung to a top 10 world ranking for almost a decade. He fought virtually all the prime heavyweights of the 60s, and after more than 20 years and 97 professional fights, he never went down. In today's boxing arena, where hype and glitz and fortunes tend to cloud history, it is easy to forget just how good George Chuvalo really was. A punishing heavyweight career. He certainly took a lot more punches than he ever gave. And yet, George Chuvalo tells us he never really got hurt in the ring. I wonder if he feels the same way about the tragedies in his personal life. We'll find out more about this complex man.
It's an awesome battering that Chuvalo is taking. He is now spitting blood. Chuvalo being battered in his own corner. And Irving Ungerman, his manager, is asking the referee to stop it. He's climbing into the ring. The referee hasn't heard him. It's all over.
But you finally get to fight Muhammad Ali. He's not Cassius Clay anymore, is he?
No, he's Muhammad Ali at the time.
All right.
Actually, he was supposed to fight Ernie Terrell in New Jersey. But the American Legion was so incensed at the fact that Ali refused to go into the draft. He said he had no quarrel with the Viet Cong. He didn't want to go to Vietnam, and he said, "I'm not going to go into the army." Anyway, the American Legion was so incensed that they virtually forced the fight out of the United States and into Montreal, Quebec. And for whatever reason, Terrell pulled out of the fight. When the fight was scheduled for Montreal, he pulled out of the fight. He said he had a stomach ailment problem, and he was out of the fight. On March the 12th, they phoned my manager, Vangerman, and asked if I would fight in Toronto against Muhammad Ali on the same date, March 29th, the scheduled date, 17 days notice. I asked Irving if he could talk to them about postponing at least a couple of weeks, but they wouldn't do it, and they said, either you fight or...
Nobody would do that today. No.
Not today, no.
But you're a trainer, right? I mean, you're in good shape.
I was in good
fight
shape
or
for
no
the
fight.
I was training all the time. Usually I take a little time off after a fight, a week or so, then right back into the gym. It was like a business.
Yeah.
And so I was in pretty good shape. And the only thing is that for a fight of that caliber, you'd like to get the proper sparring partners. And I had the proper sparring partners, but just a little more time, to work with a style like Ali's. But not that you're going to find guys who are just around the corner with a style like his, especially in those days. You find a lot of kids now will try to imitate Ali, but in those days it was hard to find.
Let's go through the fight a bit. So you got this fight, 17 days notice. You don't have the partners you'd like, or certainly you don't have the time you'd like to get ready.
But like I said before, there's no excuse because he was a great fighter. He was at the top of his game, if you will. He was at his absolute best at that time, I believe in 1966, 67. Prior to them taking away the title and putting him into virtual exile, he was at his best in 66 and 67. He never attained the same skills that he used in 66 and 67, never did. But anyway, when I fought him, he was at his best. He was very, very quick, razor sharp reflexes, razor sharp brain, very quick fighter. By far the quickest thinking and quickest punching and quickest moving fighter I had ever encountered prior or post Ali.
Anybody like him around?
No.
So I mean, he was for this era the greatest.
I think he was the greatest heavyweight champion we've ever seen. There's no question about it in my mind, anyway.
Do you ever get to like hitting people? I don't mean on the street, obviously. Thank God, but I mean in there. I mean, do you? Well, you must like it, right? How many years?
I like winning. I don't know if I necessarily just
okay.
like hurting somebody for the sake of hurting somebody, but I like winning, and if it takes hurting the other guy or beating the other guy. But I don't think of it. I never think about the fact that I'm going to inflict pain on the other guy in the sense I'm going to beat this guy up, but I'm going to take great enjoyment out of beating him up or inflicting pain. I want to win. The big kick for me is to win. That's the big kick.
So the camaraderie is there. I mean, it's not that you hate these guys. These are people that you work with.
Yeah, once the battle is over, I mean, it's really a false emotion. It says, all of a sudden you and I sign for the fight. Right now, I like you. You like me. Okay. I think we both like each other, right? But once we sign to fight each other, now I look at you through different eyes. I look at you through different eyes. And I'll try to do as much damage to you in the fight, and you try to inflict as much damage as you can during the course of 10, 12, 15 rounds. But once the fight is over, that all
yeah, what's
disappears.
the toughest punch you threw?
The hardest punch I threw was with Willie Besmanoff in our first fight. I knocked him out 3 times, but the first time I knocked him out was in June 27th, 61 at the Gardens. He was the German heavyweight champion, never been knocked out before. I knocked him down 7 times in the fight. But in the 7th knockdown, which was in the 4th round at the Gardens here in Toronto, I did the old shoe shiny, and I came up and I worked my way up with about 6 punches, and the 7th punch was a hook to the head, and I had perfect pivotal shot. I got my body over like so, and I throw a left hook, crack, and I maximized my power by twisting my body over like so, and hit him with the left hook to the chin. He was already kind of half out anyway, so he was like a sitting duck. He already been knocked down 6 times, and this was the 7th, and he was out like a light.
Toughest fight. I mean the toughest decision. You have a fight, you think you got it going. Which is the one you say, God, I got robbed when it's over? Whether you said it publicly.
Okay. Anyway,
yeah.
But the fight that really upset me the most of all was a fight in my hometown, November the 1st, 1965, with Ernie Terrell for the heavyweight title. And I know I beat Ernie Terrell, but Ernie Terrell was with the right people. When I say the right people, I don't mean the right people literally. I mean figuratively. He was with he was with the mob, and they had too much muscle, and they scared the living daylights out of everybody involved in the fight game in this town. Basically, I mean, when I say everybody, I'm talking about, I know a couple of officials because were scared to death. They came up and told me after the fight. I know Irving Ungman almost had a heart attack. Anyway, I know what happened. Ernie Glickman was the front man for Tony Accardo. They were the mob. Bernie Glickman scared the hell out of everybody here. He threatened Irving. Irving told me this after the fight. He says, if Chihuahua wants to fight, you're gonna end up in a cement box in Lake Ontario. And he says, we're gonna take the business, we're gonna take the chicken business away from you. You know, it's in your wife's name, but we're gonna take it from her too. So Irving was like this before the fight. It scared the hell out of him.
Well, not only that.
And I know they scared a couple of the other officials. And one of them came up to me after, and they told me that he was muscled by them too. So I couldn't fight with that kind of power because of that. I didn't have the same kind of guys, you know.
Yeah.
Irving had a couple of the boys in blue hanging around before the fight, but you know, what are they going to do with those guys, you know?
Yeah. But not only that, you got a uniform on, you got some responsibility. The guys coming in from New York, the big guys from New York.
Well, they were from Chicago, actually.
Chicago. All right. Okay, maybe
Well,
worse.
respect,
Maybe
Jack.
worse. Maybe worse. Maybe worse.
Harry's been letting me in for 5 years without.
Harry's not here right now. I am. I need ID.
What's going on? What's going on? In a couple of weeks, work to rule, and Copeland turns the place into Sing Sing.
Well, I guess he's got some rules, too.
Why don't you just show him your ID? Who carries around a stupid plastic card with... Antonella, you amaze me.
Gotta be organized, Dan.
You go in.
He's with me. His name's Watson.
Dan Watson. Yeah, you're on the list. The wrong list. You stay out.
George, you've had your last fight. How did you arrive at the decision that this was your last fight?
Well, there are different reasons for one wanting to quit fighting. I mean, obviously, if your physical skills have eroded to a degree that you're going to get hurt, it's obviously time to quit. Or if you're tired of boxing, you're just tired of the game, tired of... I mean, there's so many things to get tired of. You get tired of getting hit, but there are a lot, I mean, if you're not making any money, or there's a lot of reasons why one want to quit. But I think basically, if you don't enjoy fighting anymore, it's time to go. I still enjoyed it up to the age of 41, but I didn't want to get involved in all the political crap that was going on at the time in terms of my situation with the Canadian title. So I said, the hell with it.
Would you want to box today? In this society today, 1991. Boxing as it is, what would you...
Well, I mean, the very fact that I became a fighter, I mean, suggests to me, I guess, that I would want to be a fighter no matter what era. I think it's a little easier today because it's a lot shorter road to the top. First of all, for the simple reason that there aren't as many fighters around. You know, that many bodies to climb over in order to get to the top. Back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, you had to fight maybe at least 40 or 50 fights at least to get a crack at the title. I had to fight for about I think closer to 70 before I got a crack at the title, around 60 or 70. But and today it's a lot easier. Guys can, 12, 15 fights, they're fighting for the title.
Why don't we just abolish boxing? What's wrong with that statement?
There's nothing wrong with it, except along with it, you have to abolish football. You'd have to abolish Indy 500. You have to abolish a lot of other things.
Well, let me go on that, Judge. The Indy 500, my object in the Indy 500 is to get to a line before you do. Is there any other sport where I am, the object is to hurt you?
The object of the exercise may take a different path, but the object is the same. They want to see violence. People want to see violence. People feel violence. They can't act out their violence. So what a perfect way to do it.
Personally, you've had a tough life. I mean, not you personally, but your family. Can we talk? How many children do you have? 5 children?
I have 5 children. One boy died 1985.
How did that happen, Joe?
It was suicide.
And how did, was there a reasoning behind it, or any warning, any?
Yeah, there's a warning, but it's like people, you have your antennas out, but sometimes you don't pick up things the way they're supposed to, because sometimes people say things and you don't heed them. But my son told me he was going to kill himself.
In those words? Or?
Yeah, just like that. 2 weeks ago, I'm going to kill myself. For what? And a lot of things we talked about, I didn't believe him. I had to stop. But people say things like that, you don't really believe. You don't really believe their anguish. You don't really believe their pain. Because if you're not a dope addict, you can't believe the pain,
And it was a drug situation.
It was a heroin addict, and it's almost innocuous. I mean, to say like, well, he got a motorcycle accident, blew off a kneecap, in effect, and he was on Demerol for a week, and after they shut him off, they just gave him Tylenol 3, and I see him at night, laying and hugging his knee. He said, "Pops, I gotta have something for my knee." All they give me is Tylenol 3. That's all it started. Anyway, he got his stuff on the street. He told me he was going to get it on the street. So I'll get stuff on the street to take care of it. I'm going to get drugs to take care of it, the painkillers. Tylenol 3 won't do it. I mean, it sounds crazy, but he went out on the street and got his stuff. He got it, and then he got involved with heroin, and he just couldn't stand being an addict. There were things they probably had to do to stay alive, to be on. I mean, I don't know what he did to. I don't know what he did to, I just know that he had a tough time staying off it. When I say what he had to do to get it, I mean, he had whatever money he made, everything had to go into the drugs, into pursuing the drug. And he had a heart, he didn't want to live. He just didn't want to live. When you lose a kid, you grieve so, your grief is so strong that you have I know at least in my case, I had a tough time handling my own grief. I had a tough time looking after my kids. I mean, it was hard for me to be a source of comfort to my sons and my daughter when I was so overcome with grief myself. So my family has been kind of devastated by, by our circumstance of events, and it all started from a motorcycle accident. I mean, it's as crazy as that,
Round 1 in New York. Patterson hooked a left to the head after Chevalo missed with a jab. Chevalo scored with a left and a right to the ribs. Patterson shot over a stinging jab to the head of the incoming Canadian. Chevalo chopped 2 lefts to the head as they clinched. They pounded each other at close quarters. Chevalo pounded 3 rights to Patterson's ribs as Floyd tried to hold him. They each got in some hard blows to the body. Patterson drew blood from Chevalo's nose with stinging left jab. Chevalo battered with both hands to Patterson's body. Floyd scored with a thumping left hook to the jaw, followed by a quick right to the head.
Referee Zach Clayton scores it 6-5, 1 even for Patterson.
Spending time with George Chevalo, got to know the man, but he made me think about this sport of boxing. He talked about sleaziness. He talked about fights being fixed. Some of those fights he was in. Well, with the temptation of multi-million dollars, is some of that exist today? I certainly hope not, because local clubs and the Olympics and amateur boxing, and when you think about the skill and the discipline, there is something to boxing. But then again, this is the 1990s. Have we not outgrown the spectacle of a person hurting and being hurt?
Going to England? Enjoy Air Canada's new direct service from Ottawa to London Heathrow every Wednesday and Sunday. For complete details, call your travel agent.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Them TV ads is annoying, yo. But like I'm not sure what else to watch. Yeah, it's very laggy. Like I'm thinking I should just end it off because I don't even because this leg is just it's terrible. It totally sort of wrecked the whole thing. Then like the audio comes out decently, but that's about it. Let me think if I got anything that's very, as well as not very busy chat. I don't have much to go with because I really don't know. I'm just scrolling at the moment. See if I have any unlisted stuff. It's how about take a little look at I want to go with Henry Armstrong. Let me see. There be some Henry Armstrong. Let me go over to my channel, just straight up. Two very, let me say this by the way, two very good fights that I love in Carter's career, which were very important. Two back-to-back fights that happened were the Brennan and Holly Mims. Those two fights, and as well, I mean, it's a young Carter, and both of them, because both of them, they sort of because he was Carter was a tough guy, and Gomeo Brennan and Holly Mims, they were both pretty good boxers. They weren't like tough guys, but even so, Carter obviously comes out the victor, decision, of course, victory, the victor of both of those matches. But in both those fights, there's two things that happened. One, Gomeo Brennan, I believe, was did he? I think he fought. He might have fought. Yeah, I think he fought Hawley first. Hawley dropped him on the ropes. Hawley wasn't a hard puncher, so there's two things. People knew Carter could punch hard, but they weren't too sure if he could take a punch. Then in his bout with Gomeo Brennan, he got a little bit staggered in the ninth round. Um, and these two things, I mean, they raised questions of an early Carter, if he could take a punch, or you know what I mean. And both of them, I love the style. And you watch these two early matchups with Carter facing Gomeo Brennan and Holly Mims. Really set him up well, you know. And as well, George Benton. It really wasn't another era more crazy, where all the best fighters were at the very top. Carter was like just beneath, like Tiger and Giardello. They were the kings, but right beneath them, it would have to be Carter. Carter was a troublemaker. He he did his job. Say whatever you want. Like most people, they don't know. They just don't. They have no clue. They don't know. Um, like this is history. This is American history, and I think it's very important people remember, because a lot of people they know next to nothing. I become the teacher, especially people my age, and some people my age, or even 30. And man, as well, like Carter was friends with Malcolm X. I want to say this also. You know, Rube, I watched a little speech he had done, and he said, um, I don't have no business being here. The life that he lived, I really don't have no business being here. And I was thinking about it. Why would he say that? Why would he say that? Why would he say that? I mean, he because he wasn't that bad. He didn't murder. He did some dumb stuff. Yeah, he was a little thief, stealing clothes. Maybe stabbed someone and all. But like, he wasn't that bad. Trust me. Like my biological father, he had a more dirty record than Hurricane Carter. So, like these people trying to say Hurricane was bad, was a bad dude, a threat to society or whatever. I don't know. I really don't. Nah, he was pretty fucking tame, honestly, compared to a lot of other criminal records you can see. Carter wasn't into no stupid shit like that. Anywho, he said, I really have no business being here. And I wonder why he said that. And now I kind of realize why he'd say that. Because if you take a look back at all the people who were defiant, all the people who were like Carter. I mean, and I can name some which everybody knows. MLK, Malcolm X. We could also say Sonny Liston. We could say I bet just a lot of other names I didn't know, or but like what did they do? He was like, and this was old Carter, so this was one who had survived all those times and was defined. Because the other people, I don't think like MOK was no boxing villain. Um, Malcolm wasn't a boxing villain that much. It wasn't like, if you were like Carter in those days, you were either most people, or even less than Carter. If you weren't like, that's why his life was preserved in solitary confinement. He was like a survivor. You know what I mean of that? Because other people, they just got caught a bullet, and then yeah, because they caught a bullet or they was taken out. So he was one who could really tell the story from that era through a lens that should be heard forefront, very, first and foremost. Put his voice, let him speak. He knows what he's talking about. Shut up, everybody. And you know what he was speaking? The shit that he spoke when he was an older dude, they would they would want him canceled. You can't say what Carter says. They would call Carter a racist. They would call Carter, I don't know. I don't know. Race traitor or whatever. I don't know. Uncle Tom or kissing the white man's ass or some shit like that. Yeah, Carter's the real deal. But anyhow, back to this boxing. It's so leggy, yo. Get me upset. But I mean, you guys can watch the fight yourself if you want. Um, After, um, but Brandon put up a good fight, a very good fight. Like some people, they really don't know what they're looking at when they look at these old guys. They really don't know, especially even the fight, the intensity. They don't exactly know, like, they look at the new guys like they're all so spiffy and I'm telling you, this intensity isn't matched. They could not they could not even carry what these guys are doing. Even before the bell, like I'm thinking before the first bell, the face of boxing, I don't know, Floyd Mayweather, whoever, um, they're going this time. Carter is the fucking face of boxing. Um, the new guy, they're the ones. These guys owned the energy. they would outshine all of them, man. I think boxing is real dead because now all the guys are just like entertainers to me. It's all about entertainment. It's not what it once was. Boxing was also something that gave the poor, because you remember this, boxing is the poor man's sport. It was the poor man's sport. The white people who picked up boxing, they were the then impoverished, poor class people. They were the Italians, they were the Irish, they were, and you know what I mean. Same with uh rap. I was Same with rap. Rap gave, boxing gave Hurricane a voice. Boxing gave Boxing was the poor man's sport. Now the poor man can't get a promotion or whatever, get that. The killers are not the real killers. They're not given a chance. It's, um and Tupac, guys like Tupac, Prodigy, um, they don't exist much in hip hop. They don't exist at all. Tupac, no way. Prodigy, like he's not, like I'm thinking, because if you know who he was as an older guy, um, you might think like he might have been killed, choked on an egg. I don't really think so. As soon as he starts talking, like as soon as he could start expressing himself, you know, that's when he gotta go. And let me tell you, I want to say another thing. In these modern day times, I really do not think it's about black or white anymore. If I'm to say the same stuff, it's not about, like, I won't be a be silenced because I am white or I am black. If I'm saying the same, if I'm just telling the truth, it's not about color. This white privilege, it won't save me. It won't stop me. This quote unquote white privilege, it won't stop me um, from being shut down or told to shut up or silenced, anything like that. We live in different times. These Carter, straight up, Carter said we don't live in those times no more. And I think like it's true because we gotta stick with the times for us to even know. I mean, I'm just going all over the place right now, but for us to know, okay, quote unquote, history repeats itself. Why? I think some people can't even answer that. Why does it repeat? Why will it repeat itself? Well, it'll repeat itself because we're under the same um we're under the same, basically, system, society, uh the world. We haven't had nothing different, and that's why it can repeat itself. Like but for us to even know that it'll repeat itself, it, like, I don't know, have an idea of what'll happen in the future or even know what's going on now. Knowing history is important, yeah, but you cannot say that history, oh, this is how history repeats itself, or like, I don't know, if you don't know history. Like, um, where am I going? I just got a brain freeze, I guess there. That's going all over. Now I'm lost. um, well, I focus on this boxing footage. He moves middleweights way back. Move him back with one punch. Knock him around the ring. Hurricane. Tough. When he fought Dick Tiger, yo, he got he got him to just boxing around. This wasn't the fight that Carter was fighting with. Oh man, this wasn't the fight that Carter was fighting with Tiger or Giardello. Let's say oh yeah, because I had mentioned Tiger and Giardello. Let me say that for real. This is not how Carter brought it to uh the best. Yeah. Um Creature of fluid movement. That's for sure. Carter could move. Oh, he was a mover. Yeah. I don't even know if he ever faced a southpaw. He was signed to fight a southpaw, I believe. I think I remember he was a southpaw before he was, of course, taken up by the, you know, Patterson police in '66. And let me see how it's going, yo. People, you should I don't know, comment in the chat. Tell me something. Give me a topic at the moment. Cause I don't talk so much. Got nothing to talk about right now. Well, yeah. I think I'm gonna watch some let me see. Henry Armstrong. Hold up. Let me see. Got my playlist right there. No? Well, let me see. I'll go. Let's see. Wait, it'll be around here. Benny Briscoe. Benny Briscoe, man. It's kind of. Let me see. Torres. Then we got. Bobby Boyd. Bobby Boyd. Oh yeah, how about we just play this for a sec? Iger. There's Griffith. That's a really mini clip. But I put together this playlist. Um, a good there's a bunch of good stuff. This was one. Here we go. Henry Hank. This guy was very. He was strong, and he was What I see a lot of, for instance, I mean, in his style, where I see his Henry Armstrong's jab. You see this later, of course, Henry Hank. You see his jab. He sort of yeah. Let's see. It was Mr. I hated seeing Tiger lose to Bob Foster, but it's okay. Because then I saw Joe Frazier smack him. He smacked him good. He smacked him a good one. Eddie Mello, yo. It's one Toronto guy. Just, yeah. He was a butt of, he got into, he was killed. The mob doing bad stuffs. He gets shot. I think, oh my God. But yeah, similar to, I hate guns. Guns is bad, especially like that's how Frankie DePaula, yeah, that's how he went out, by way of a coward with a gun. Anybody can sit behind a gun and shoot. It doesn't take nothing to do that. It doesn't mean nothing. I hate that. I hate weapons. Straight up. Griffith. Let me see. And this is my butt here. I made that profile picture. I did that. I did this too. This thing right here, yo. Yeah. That little some time ago, I think I stumbled across what I used to make this this particular thing. Sort of the template that I then laid over and over and over to make it long, because it was originally just a square. But yeah, this is, yeah, I think I should probably end off this now, because it's, I don't know, long, short, sweet, it's whatever. Well, I really don't know how to end it, but I don't know. Uh, all the good stuff. I don't know. Stay strong. Stay fighting. That's all.